Picture this, 1971. Plymouth's most expensive showroom, not a dealership, a showroom, with burgundy velvet ropes and champagne on ice. In the center, under spotlights that would make a Rolls-Royce jealous, sits a Plymouth GTX. But this isn't your typical muscle car. The interior? Genuine leather. The dashboard? Real wood grain. The carpet? Thicker than your living room. And under that long, elegant hood, 440 cubic inches of pure HEMI violence. Plymouth executives had a question. What if we made a muscle car for gentlemen? What they created was automotive schizophrenia. A car too refined for drag racers and too loud for country clubs. This is the story of Detroit's most beautiful mistake. Let me paint you a picture of early 70s logic, because this gets ridiculous fast. The Plymouth GTX debuted in 1967 as a gentleman's muscle car. Think Roadrunner in a three-piece suit. For 4 years, it worked. Premium muscle sold. But by 1971, Plymouth executives were snorting something stronger than premium unleaded. They looked at the muscle car market, engines being strangled by emissions, insurance companies declaring war on horsepower, young buyers fleeing to imports, and thought, you know what this dying market needs? A $4,000 luxury muscle car. Brilliant. To understand this insanity, we need context and a strong drink. In 1970, the muscle car world made sense. You wanted raw performance? Buy a Roadrunner for $2,800. Vinyl seats, AM radio, and 426 cubic inches of get the hell out of my way. You wanted luxury? Buy a Chrysler. Simple. The GTX sat in between. Slightly nicer than the Roadrunner, slightly tougher than the Satellite. Think of it as business casual in a world of tank tops and tuxedos. It worked because it knew what it was. A muscle car with a few extra amenities, not a luxury car pretending to be tough. But 1971 GTX? Plymouth marketing decided to answer a question nobody asked. What if we took everything gearheads hate about luxury cars and stuffed it into a muscle car? $4,000. For a Plymouth. That's Corvette money. That's Cadillac territory. That's mortgage payment pricing for a car with a cartoon bird logo. Let's talk about what $4,000 bought you. Because this list reads like a Cadillac brochure written by someone who'd never met an actual muscle car buyer. Standard equipment. Standard. Included leather bucket seats with enough padding to survive a demolition derby. Power windows. In 1971, that was NASA technology. Wood grain dashboard inserts. Not fake stick-on stuff. Actual wood grain vinyl that looked expensive. Air conditioning that could freeze a Florida summer. The interior was trimmed in more chrome than a diner jukebox. The door panels had so much padding, closing them felt like shutting a bank vault. Even the horn button was padded leather. Plymouth spent more on the horn button than Roadrunner spent on entire seats. But wait, plot twist. Under all this luxury lurked legitimate muscle. The base engine? A 375 horsepower, 440 cubic inch V8. Not HEMI power, but respectable. Optional? The 426 HEMI, 425 horsepower of the same engine that dominated NASCAR. This wasn't a fake muscle car wearing a luxury costume. This was a real muscle car that forgot its audience. 0 to 60, 6.5 seconds. Quarter mile, 14 flat. Top speed, north of 130. The GTX could back up its luxury appointments with legitimate street performance. On paper, Plymouth built the perfect car. Fast enough to embarrass Mustangs, comfortable enough to drive cross-country. In reality, they built a car for a customer who didn't exist. Let that marinate. See, muscle car buyers in 1971 fell into two camps, and the GTX satisfied exactly neither of them. Camp 1. Pure performance junkies. These guys wanted lightweight, maximum horsepower, minimum price. They'd rip out the radio to save weight. They considered carpeting unnecessary luxury. You think they wanted leather seats and power windows? They wanted 13-second quarter miles, not 60-second power window cycles. Camp 2. Luxury buyers. Country club crowd. These folks bought Chrysler New Yorkers and Cadillac Coupe de Villes. Sure, the GTX had leather and wood and power everything, but it also had HEMI loud exhaust, drag racer stiff suspension, and a Plymouth badge. You think someone shopping luxury wanted to explain to their neighbors, Yeah, I spent $4,000 on a Plymouth. Plymouth created the automotive equivalent of a tuxedo with sneakers. Technically wearing formal attire, but nobody's letting you into the wedding. The competition? They understood the assignment. Chevrolet offered the Chevelle SS, stripped-down performance for $3,200. Dodge offered the Charger RT, slightly upscale muscle for $3,400. Pontiac offered the GTO, performance with personality for $3,300. All of them were cheaper than the GTX while delivering similar or better performance. The GTX's extra $1,000 bought you comfort your buddies would mock at the drag strip and performance your neighbors would complain about at the country club. Plymouth spent premium money solving a problem that didn't exist. But wait, it gets worse. 1971 was the worst possible year to launch a premium muscle car. Insurance companies were in full war mode against performance vehicles. They saw GTX on the registration and charged rates that would make your mortgage look reasonable. Emissions regulations were tightening like a noose. The Clean Air Act meant compression ratios were dropping faster than disco album sales in 1981. That legendary HEMI engine? 1971 was its last year in street cars. Plymouth was selling peak performance at the exact moment performance was dying. Even worse, the economy was circling the drain. Gas prices climbing, recession looming, buyers fleeing to fuel-efficient imports. And Plymouth's solution? A $4,000 gas-guzzling luxury muscle car. That's like opening a steakhouse during a vegetarian convention. The market responded with deafening silence. Plymouth built 11,000 GTX in 1971. Compare that to 1970? Over 40,000. Sales dropped 73% in 1 year. The luxury strategy didn't just fail, it collapsed. Dealers couldn't move them. Buyers couldn't afford the insurance. Even Plymouth loyalists were confused. Showrooms full of $4,000 Plymouths gathered dust while customers walked across the street to buy cheaper Dodge Chargers and Challenger RTs. Same basic car, $1,000 less, without the identity crisis. By 1972, Plymouth executives admitted defeat. The GTX nameplate? Discontinued. The luxury muscle experiment? Abandoned. The entire concept of premium Plymouth performance? Dead and buried. They tried to make muscle cars sophisticated, and instead, they made them irrelevant. Here's the tragic irony. The GTX itself was actually good. Owners who bought them, they loved them. Road tests praised the combination of comfort and performance. The 440 engine was bulletproof reliable. The HEMI option was legendary. The interior quality was genuinely impressive, miles ahead of typical muscle car cheapness. The GTX proved you could build a comfortable muscle car without sacrificing performance. The engineering was sound, the execution was solid, the driving experience was excellent. Plymouth's only mistake? Building the right car at the wrong time for the wrong price, targeting the wrong customer? Today, surviving GTXs, especially HEMI cars, command serious collector money. Six-figure auction prices aren't uncommon. The very attributes that made them unsellable in 1971 make them desirable now. Factory luxury, factory performance, factory rare. Turns out the GTX wasn't ahead of its time. It was outside of time completely. The lesson? Sometimes the perfect car is perfectly wrong. Plymouth built a muscle car for adults who wanted comfort, but muscle car buyers wanted raw, and luxury buyers wanted quiet. The 1971 GTX stands as proof that Detroit could overthink a muscle car to death. They took a winning formula, big engine, rear-wheel drive, affordable price, and asked, what if we made this complicated? Answer, nobody buys it, the nameplate dies, and 50 years later we make YouTube videos about corporate delusion. This is Car Chronicles, where we celebrate Detroit's ability to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. If you enjoyed watching Plymouth torpedo their own muscle car with luxury features, hit that subscribe button. Next week, we explore another car that was too good for its own good. Until then, remember, sometimes the perfect compromise satisfies absolutely nobody. Don't be that guy.